Chapter 13. Cries of Power. When I arrived back at Adrian's penthouse, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. The moment I stepped through the door, I found him pacing, his expression a mixture of focus and restlessness. "Juliet," he said, turning to face me, his eyes sharp. "Did you meet with Jackson?" "I did," I replied, keeping my tone even. "He's on board. We have a plan." "Good." Adrian's gaze intensified, and I could sense the wheels turning in his mind. "What did he say?" I took a deep breath, trying to suppress the nervous flutter in my stomach. "He's got intel on Sterling Enterprises. Weaknesses we can exploit. We need to move quickly if we want to take advantage of this." Adrian nodded, moving toward the whiteboard where our notes and plans were laid out. "Tell me everything." I stepped closer, detailing what Jackson and I had discussed. Adrian listened intently, jotting down notes and asking pointed questions. The more we talked, the more the tension in the room shifted. We were no longer adversaries but collaborators, each of us bringing our strengths to the table, working toward a common goal. As I outlined our strategy, I couldn't help but notice the way Adrian's expression changed, his intensity softening. There was something undeniably magnetic about him when he was focused, driven by ambition. "All right," he said, stepping back from the board once we finished. "We'll set our plan in motion by the end of the week." "Are you sure you want to move this fast?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. "We need to ensure everything is in place first. Rushing could jeopardize everything." Adrian crossed his arms, his gaze steady. "I've waited long enough. We need to hit Sterling when they least expect it. The longer we wait, the more time they have to fortify their defenses." I nodded, sensing the urgency in his words. He was right. We had to act decisively. "Okay, then let's finalize our approach with Jackson. We need to make sure we have all the information we need before we make our move." "Agreed," Adrian said, the faintest hint of a smile gracing his lips. "I knew you had the fire in you." "Don't get used to it," I replied, trying to keep my tone light despite the seriousness of our situation. "This is a partnership, remember?" "Of course," he said, his expression turning serious again. "But just so we're clear, there's no room for error. If we get this wrong, the consequences will be severe. For both of us." I felt a chill run down my spine, the gravity of his words sinking in. "I understand." "Good," he replied. "Now I have something for you." He walked over to his desk, opening a drawer and pulling out a small, sleek device. He tossed it to me, and I caught it reflexively. "What is it?" "A tracker," he said, his voice low. "For your phone. I want to be able to reach you at all times." I raised an eyebrow, feeling a rush of discomfort. "You want to track me?" "It's for your safety," Adrian replied, his gaze unwavering. "With everything happening, I can't afford to lose you. You're too valuable to this plan." I hesitated, my instinct telling me to refuse, but I couldn't ignore the logic behind his request. This partnership was fraught with danger, and having an extra layer of security might be wise. "Fine," I said, tucking the device into my pocket. "But if I feel like this is overstepping, I will take it off." "Fair enough," he replied, a hint of amusement in his eyes. "Just know that I'll be watching." I rolled my eyes, trying to brush off the flutter of unease in my stomach. "I'll be fine. I'm not a child, Adrian." He took a step closer, his expression serious again. "I know you're not, but I also know this world can be ruthless. You need to stay sharp." "Don't worry about me," I replied, meeting his gaze. "I can take care of myself." He paused, and for a moment I thought I saw a flicker of something softer in his eyes. Admiration, perhaps, but it vanished as quickly as it appeared, replaced by the familiar mask of ambition. "All right then," he said, stepping back. "Let's finalize our plan and set this into motion." The next few days were a blur of activity, as we worked tirelessly to gather information and solidify our strategy. I met with Jackson several times, and together, we compiled a detailed report on Sterling Enterprises, identifying key clients we could target to undermine their stability. As we delved deeper into our plan, I found myself drawn into Adrian's world more than I ever expected. He was ruthless, no doubt, but there was an undeniable charisma about him that kept me engaged. We shared late nights at the penthouse, strategizing and planning, And in those moments, I felt a connection that both thrilled and terrified me. But just as I began to feel a sense of camaraderie, I received a phone call that shattered my fragile sense of control. "Juliet, it's your father," the voice on the line said, a sense of urgency threading through his words. "We need to talk. It's important." I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. "What is it, Dad?" "There's been a change in the boardroom. I need you to come to the office now," he insisted, his tone leaving no room for argument. "I'll be there," I replied, my heart racing as I ended the call. As I drove to my father's office, my mind raced with possibilities. Had Adrian made a move? Had Sterling struck back? I could feel the weight of the world pressing down on me, and the uncertainty gnawed at my insides. When I arrived at the office, my father was waiting for me, pacing back and forth, his expression tight with worry. "Dad, what's going on?" I asked, stepping into his office. He stopped, turning to face me, his eyes grave. "Juliet, we have a serious problem. I just received word that Adrian is positioning himself to take control of a critical contract we've been working on for months." "What? How do you know?" I asked, my heart sinking. "He has connections in the city, and they've been monitoring our movements," he replied, his voice tense. "If he secures that contract, it could undermine everything we've built. We can't let that happen." Panic flooded through me, but I forced myself to remain calm. "I'll talk to Adrian. We can figure this out." "No," my father said, his expression fierce. "You stay away from him. This is a dangerous game, and I won't have you caught in the crossfire. We need to take action now." "But," I started, but he cut me off. "Juliet, I'm serious. We can't let him win. We have to strategize and hit him where it hurts. He thinks he can control us, but we'll show him he's wrong." My mind raced. I knew the stakes were high, but I couldn't shake the feeling that confronting Adrian without understanding his full plan could lead to disaster. "Dad, I have a plan," I said slowly, weighing my words carefully. "I've been working with Jackson and Adrian. We've been gathering intel on Sterling, and we were going to strike soon. If we can beat them to the punch, it might give us an advantage." My father's expression darkened. "You can't trust him, Juliet. He's using you." "Maybe," I replied, frustration creeping into my voice. "But if we don't act, we'll lose everything. We have to fight back." He ran a hand over his face, tension radiating from him. "I need time to think. You have to promise me you'll stay away from Adrian until I figure this out." "I can't do that," I insisted, my heart racing. "I need to confront him. I need to understand what he's planning. You're playing a dangerous game. You don't know what he's capable of. I won't risk your safety." I stood there, torn between loyalty to my father and my own instincts. I knew Adrian was dangerous, but I also knew that the only way to protect my family was to understand the full extent of his plans. "Dad, I have to do this," I said firmly, my resolve hardening. "I won't sit back and let him take everything from us. I won't let him win." My father's gaze softened for a moment, but the tension remained. "Just be careful, Juliet. I can't lose you to this." As I left the office, I felt the weight of his words pressing down on me. I was stepping into a world of shadows and secrets, where every decision could lead to danger. But I had made my choice. I was done being a pawn. I would reclaim my power, and I would confront Adrian head on. The game was far from over, and I was ready to fight for everything I cared about.